Welcome everyone to our Two Posh podcast. I'm your host Gabrielle here with my co-host Marcella.
Hi.
And Gino.
Let's go.
And Bernie.
Hello.
And Spider.
Hola.
And our special guest today, Jolee.
Hello.
She is back.
I'm back.
She is back, and we are going to jump right into the most common problems teens face in 2019. And we want to have your input, Jolee, if you can. Number one, in this particular article, we have several, but there's acceptance. Even the most self-assured person struggles with acceptance from time to time. However, teens have it especially hard due to their lack of maturity and perspective. The best thing parents can do is offer parental acceptance. A recent study published in the journal PLOS ONE shows that there was a significant link between children's psychological maladjustment and perceived paternal and maternal rejection. What is this?
I'm so
This
confused
doesn't
right now.
make any
They're saying
sense.
that they think that your parents rejecting your ideas or whatever is a bad thing for the development of your brain, basically.
I totally misunderstood that. Help your teen feel accepted by assuring them of your unwavering loving guidance. This was a parent thing. Okay, got it. Do you feel accepted and loved?
No.
Get out of here.
I mean,
Well, I'm sure there's some teens that are struggling with that.
oh, for sure.
Right.
There's some parents that I see that I'm like, you're damaging your child. Like,
In
no,
what way,
no
Stella?
joke. Pressure, especially in what I do. I mean, I think parents put so much pressure on their kids to be good at. I don't even think it's just dancing. I think it's in any sport, school. I think to make perfect grades, and I think when you put so much stress on a kid, it's not good. Like the kids who are left alone were always the best. I mean, and I'm saying do your best, obviously, and if your parents are paying for it, like don't be a lazy ass. But I think that the pressure to like win and to be valedictorian and to go to this college and to be so perfect
And to take all these college courses during high school years and all that
is really stressful on them. And they're always the ones who, like, I can see stress in a kid's face, and I always feel like that's sad because when they're adults, they have all that time to be stressed.
Our parents will live through their kids, though.
Yeah,
right?
bad.
They're just,
That drives me crazy.
That's
bad.
It is, right? It's pretty insane.
Yeah.
And so they put their, I mean, they are not where they wanted to be.
It's just crazy to me. I've had, parents walk in and start taking over, and I'm like, and their kids are just like, I can see them like
like embarrassed.
Just kind of exhausted because they have it coming from me.
Yeah.
And I've always said, if you don't, and this goes for, I think, any coach or whatever, like if you don't trust me to do it, then either do it to them at home or get someone else to do it. But they just want to take over because they want to live through their kids. And I've never understood that. Is like, maybe was it something they wanted and didn't have, or
More than likely.
Yeah.
it's just weird. Too much pressure, I think.
But then it drives, I mean, a lot of kids, when we're, as parents, we can make our kids do it for a while. We can make y'all do whatever we want to, right? But I think the kids who probably feel that pressure when they get the ability to kind of decide what they want to do, or even before they really have the ability, they start rebelling. And then when they really can do what they want, they go crazy.
Yeah.
So, but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, imagine if you had like your son say you force him into football and he absolutely hates football, and you go, I don't care what you say, and you're going to play football. I mean,
her family friend with soccer.
Yeah. She says there's someone she knows that has to play soccer and doesn't like to play.
At all?
He hates it.
Really?
Yeah.
Is it he's guaranteed to never play ever again.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And you can burn kids out. They have
For
to
sure.
want to do it.
Yeah.
And I always say that every kid, I don't believe that most people like to fail. Like, I don't believe that people go into anything with like wanting to be bad at it. So I think if you just give them that freedom, every kid peaks at a different time. So you might have an amazing 9-year-old baseball player, but then they could be amazing. Somebody else is amazing at 15. Like, I think parents see, oh my gosh, this kid is like this, and why aren't you like this? And you're going to play this sport because I said so. It's
Do you see that, Gino?
odd.
Oh my gosh. Yes, every day. I had a major run-in with a parent yesterday on Tuesday.
Do tell what happened.
I won't get into all the details because it's too long of a story, but just essentially a pretty crazy, known, out of control mom came onto my court at the end. She did wait this time because I've had multiple talks there before, and she just walked on and she started telling me what she wanted for her son. Granted, in my class, her son is there on special exemption. I don't think I said the right word. What did I just say?
You said exemption.
Yeah, I don't know what I was trying to say there. So don't even need to cut
Exception?
that out. No idea what I was trying to say. So he's there on
Like a scholarship?
no, like he
Special
is not-
provision?
yeah, there you go.
He has exception.
No idea what I was going with. Thank you,
You said
Vernon.
it right. It was
Okay.
a syllable off. But
Yeah.
So not right.
So he's there because he's not ready to be there, and he's there on the premise of he has to work harder than everyone. He's got to listen better. So she comes walking in and just like, my son should be doing this, 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 and this. And I go, you do realize your son can swing and miss at a sitting still ball. He can't do the things that these high performance players can do. Like, she's wanting him to do activities that kids that are 16, 17 that are at the 10,000 hour rule are doing. And I looked at her and I'm like, I've got 38 kids on 4 courts, and you want me to designate 1 court to your son? And I said, no, it's not happening. And she freaked out. She literally, when I told her no, and that I was going to now, because she caused a scene, send her
Probably
son.
no one's ever told her no.
Yeah. I sent her
Husband probably doesn't
son.
either.
I sent her son back to the smaller class. I said, you caused a problem. Now your son's going to go back.
God, how'd she take that? I'm sure you got to have a pissed off mom.
I still can't believe this, and I'm trying to forget this image because it was so terrible. She actually, in conversation, when I told her that, turned and ran down the hallway, stopped at the end, and turned around and screeched, "Try me!" And I said, "All right, he's out." And she left. So,
challenge accepted.
Yeah.
He's out.
yeah.
Would you guys both? Because I mean, you've been dancing forever and teaching forever, and clearly, you do the same thing with tennis. Would you agree that there's like a natural talent that people have?
For sure.
Right? There's some people who just cannot
Have it.
dance, no matter how
Oh yeah.
20,000 hours into it, they're not going to do it.
Some are naturally blessed, and some are like, you should go play soccer.
It's the same thing for tennis.
100, like that boy's 11. He's been playing for 2 years. He's still swinging and missing.
Yeah.
He's at one of the best academies in the country. Like, there's sometimes you just can't help people.
That's not true.
No.
But I don't think it's that. I think it's that they probably don't want to.
Yeah.
They probably don't want to be there. They probably have something else that they want to do really bad, and their parent is making them go.
That's the
Isn't that crappy?
situation.
I was imagine if she's doing that in front of you and everyone.
imagine at
Imagine
home.
behind. Yeah.
Yeah.
That kid probably hates his life.
And I think that parents need to have like
Not be delusional.
not be delusional when
Real
it comes to your
expectations.
child's
Yes.
ability. I understand that every parent loves their kid more than anybody else. But you have to be realistic when in a sport or activity, like if someone is better. I have done kind of what Gino, I've actually brought a parent in. I said, please watch. Like, serious, and I'm not trying to be mean, and I'm not disrespecting your child. Please look, I'm going to have like the number one, my top dancer dance, and she's going to dance right next to her. Please tell me you see the difference. You have
done
to
that
see
before?
it. Oh, yes, because people are mad.
So awesome.
I did it yesterday.
You have
Wow.
to be, and
Y'all are
be,
freaking mean.
I know, I'm so mean. And Jolee knows I love her. I would die for her. But there are times I was like, oh, back corner. I don't know what you're doing. But like, and that doesn't mean I don't love her.
Not at
but
all.
you're not ready. You're just not ready to do that. And some people are, and some are not.
How do you handle that, Jolee? Like,
I always was just
do you
like,
care?
all right.
Do you care?
I knew, so I was like, I know I'm not doing this right.
It's so funny.
You don't have
man.
to lie to them.
Well,
Yeah.
I listened to a podcast this morning with Gary Vee and some major basketball player, and they were actually discussing that, and they were talking about how they are so sick of the everyone deserves a trophy mentality.
Drives me nuts.
The disillusion with parents who think they give their child a basketball, for example, and then just assume they're going to make it in the NBA. That's not even a doubt. I mean, and then pressure that child or give them a baseball Bat, thank you. I was like,
That's
it's
okay.
not
I'm
a
struggling
racket.
today too, apparently. So
It's not a racket.
that and exception are tough today.
Exception.
There's only a handful of Tiger Woods and
Yeah.
stuff like that, like the exceptions to
But
the
I mean,
Serena Williams.
they
and all
were
them.
saying how this is absolutely horrific and it needs to end and it needs to stop. And yes, keep the kids. Our organized sports and organized after school programs are amazing. They teach the children a lot for later on in life, but be realistic and don't be completely
And
Not
I think-
everyone has to be on TV playing
Right.
Tiger Woods, like you said. Like
And I think listen to your kid. Like, I mean, why would you want to force them to do something they hate? Like, our rule was always you have to do something.
Yeah.
So
pick it.
they tried to put me on a tennis court, and I was like,
Me too.
oh, hell no. What the hell? I don't want to do this. I need to go back to dance, back to dance. This is
So
terrible.
You don't play it at all? Tennis at all?
I made her do it
You
on my
play tennis,
birthday.
right? Yeah.
You don't remember the
Yeah,
balls
I
flying
said
at her face?
How did you forget
Right.
that?
I forgot about that. I just remember the balls in your
Balls
face.
flying at my face?
You
Remember
said that
couple
last time.
Oh, no,
podcasts?
in the head. Oh, yeah. I was like, did I get a ball thrown in my face here? When did that happen?
Oh my god, this is a Marcella moment
That's
again.
exactly what it was.
This is what I was talking
Wait.
about.
That's so funny.
We played Gino's wish last year for his
Oh, yeah.
birthday. I was like,
Family
Really?
tennis day.
Yeah.
Like just don't have to do anything
How'd that
crazy.
go
I
for
just
you?
go.
I think I
Tough.
sat the whole time.
Fun.
Yeah, Jolie didn't even participate.
Jolie, you don't play tennis at all? No.
She tried to.
Yeah?
She wasn't all that bad how she's acting right now. She just didn't
I
like
did not like it at all.
What sport? Do you like any sports at all?
No. I mean, like, I'm
I like
forced to
Instagrams.
watch.
it. I'm forced to do a lot.
Oh my God.
I'm forced to watch, like, football whenever it's on.
But there's no
What?
sports, nothing? Volleyball, anything?
Oh, I like to play volleyball.
Okay.
And sometimes I'll play basketball with my friends.
All right.
I'll play volleyball and basketball. That's about
does
it.
your son, is he into anything? What is
So,
he?
so my son, he he is more of the kid who wants the outfit and will buy it for him,
That's
and then he
great.
doesn't play it at all. So, for example, I had a buddy of mine who was a big MMA, Muay Thai type of guy, owned a studio in Plano, and we took Jet to it, and Jet was amped up. And the stuff's not cheap. Buying like the gi.
Really? I don't
it's-
know anything about that.
I don't know much about it either. It's just know it's expensive. Like the belt, and
learning quick.
everything. Yeah, it was hundreds of dollars. And I mean, I had that conversation. He's 7 now. He's about to be 8. So this is when he was 5. And his mom and I were like, Jet, all right. Are you sure? I mean, any 5-year-old's not really thinking the concept of money. He's like, yes, Dad, we want to do this. So he puts outfit on, goes to the next practice, sits out, won't go back in. He goes in just for a second, and they have gloves on, and so they're kind of sparring. And my son's like me; he doesn't want to get hit in the face. He's like,
Too pretty. I'm too pretty.
he's way too hands for that. So he will.
It's my money maker.
Yes, dude, that's exactly right. He did it for about, I'm not making up, 4 or 5 minutes, and he was done.
I thought you were going to say 4 or 5 times.
No, 4 or 5 minutes, and he's done. And then, I'm trying to force him out there, and he's just dead weight. Like, he's sad, went from happy to just sad. And it's like, so we did that with soccer. I would say last summer he played some indoor soccer, but the year before we put him in like this league, and it's not super expensive. It's just the point that he likes to put the outfit on,
Yeah.
and that's it. So maybe he'll be in a fashion or something. I don't know.
Let him try tennis.
Yeah.
So well,
Let him
here's-
try tennis.
here's the
Lesson
thing,
on
though.
me. Like, well, just give him a try.
I would totally
like,
do that.
No cost, so no money. Like, just
That's a first.
let him try it. Yeah.
So, but I will tell you this: I was asking so many questions because he's like loves singing. Like I think he's gonna be an entertainer. I'm not
Okay.
kidding. Like
Okay.
I catch him in the back seat in my car, and there's like a TV there, and he's singing to all the songs, and he'll sing it in front of anybody.
That's
So yeah,
special. That's
I know,
awesome.
and I think he'll be an entertainer. So
But and you as a parent, you support that.
yeah,
Yeah.
I want him to get truly like I've asked him if he wanted to get into like dancing and stuff like
Yeah.
that, and so he's not sure yet, but he's like a true entertainer.
Yeah,
So.
you just got to put him in some hip hop classes, and then he'll have like all the girls will be like,
That's what I keep
drinking.
trying to tell him. I want him to learn to play guitar. Like, because, I mean, that would be awesome because he's only 7. Well, he's about to be 8 next month. And I think that would be cool because the
Go
guitar
to her
is so
studio.
cool.
It's better to
Septian.
start
to check it out.
early.
That's why I was asking, like, what all's
Septian
involved.
Studio for Guitar. That's in
Wait, what?
Addison. It's called
Septian?
Septian.
Never heard of that.
It's where
Demi Lovato came out of there.
Jessica
Selena-
Simpson,
Yeah,
Really?
Selena Gomez.
Check it out. I definitely will take you up on the tennis thing.
Yeah.
'Cause I just want him to do something. Because
Yeah.
right now, what he does the most of is games,
Video games.
iPad, all that
course.
stuff. And the thing is, nowadays, I mean, there's kids who are making
We talk about that. They're making
millions
so much
of dollars
money.
This
just
Saturday,
playing video games.
Fortnite World Cup, the winner will make more money than Novak Djokovic did winning the Wimbledon title.
What?
Are you serious?
Are you kidding me
How
right
much?
now?
So what is that? How
It's
much?
a $30 million prize pool this
What?
year.
Gosh.
Yep.
Stop.
It was Fortnite alone had invested $100 million into competitions for this year. And this weekend's a $30 million finals, which over 10 weeks prior, anyone in the world could attempt to qualify. And it was $1 million prize pool each week. And the top 100 in solos and duos qualified. And they're in New York City, rented out Madison Square Garden. It's all.
So
being
Gino,
built
tell
up.
everyone what number you were in the world.
All right, so I was a little bit into it, you could say. My duo partner and I, we got to like top 200 in the world in
Are
the
you
game.
serious?
And
Out
we
of
were-
millions.
In
Yeah.
Fortnite?
Yeah, we would play like tournaments with tens of
didn't know
millions of
this.
people.
I'm
We
saying
were
the same
making,
thing. I'm like,
we've made like quite.
Marcella,
We've made
let's learn
some,
this.
Yeah, we've made some.
No, I have looked at it and I'm like, oh, fuck. Sorry. Screw that right now. I'm no.
That's so funny.
I'm walking away.
Well,
we made good money doing it. Like we've made
What?
we
You're
would
like
win
top
100
200 in the world?
at one point. Yeah,
no kidding.
2 seasons ago. Yeah.
So it's insane because there's so much money in that. Like there was I may be off on a little bit of it, but the guy who created Minecraft, and if you've ever seen Minecraft, it's a huge deal. But
Jolee loves it.
I actually love it.
the
It's
graphics
fun.
on it are so like
I can't.
great.
handle
They're
it.
they remind me of like back in the day, way
Yeah.
before y'all. It's
I'm
called
so
Commodore
confused.
64 or like Atari. Like the graphics are so
Bad.
horrible to me.
Well, it's like a really old game too. So
Yeah, but
they haven't fixed it at all.
But the guy who invented that, he outbid Jay-Z and Beyonce for a house like $70
heard
million
I
or
heard
something.
that.
$70 million.
Yeah.
Like that's crazy. When you outbid Jay-Z and Beyonce, you're a badass. I'm sorry.
That's insane.
Unbelievable. All right.
Uh,
What social issues teens
Oh.
struggle with today? Depression. According to the National Institute of Mental Health, an estimated 3 million adolescents in the United States had at least one major depressive episode. That means about 13% of teenagers may experience depression before reaching adulthood.
I had a student yesterday tell me in her private that at 10 years old, she had suicidal tendencies. She wanted to kill herself.
How old is she now?
She is 12.
There's so much pressure. I mean, but there's also outside sources. Though. So
Yeah.
you got social media is a mother.
I don't know how they do it. And I
Yeah.
have said it a million times. As an adult, social media can be difficult.
Yeah, because you see what
and you're
everyone else.
comparing.
Yeah, that's exactly what
Yeah.
it is. And I mean, the reality is what we see is not usually what it is.
Never, first
But
of all.
I gotta think of Matt more for like a younger person who can't really separate the two,
Yeah.
or separate reality from. Oh my god!
But some of them, like I feel like Jolee's age, like you guys aren't really on social media that much, are you? Like she
No.
doesn't really like it.
But and there are different
But
ones like
they are.
Snapchat.
Well, I mean, I will go on it to talk to my friends like that. We don't really text. We talk on social media, but I don't really do anything else on it.
But do you feel like you're looking and comparing your life to other people?
No, not at all.
But wouldn't
It's
you?
not-
But wouldn't you say with that question? I mean, I don't think anyone, very few people would acknowledge. Yes, I compare myself
Sure.
to. I mean, I
Yeah.
think that I naturally get. And like I see somebody who, whatever, maybe an idiot, but
FOMO.
I'm still, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, some idiot, but I still think, man, that's a badass car, or that's a great life, or my God, the
True.
vacation, or mind that watch, or like, but I would never be. I mean, I could say it now because we're talking about it, but I would not naturally think I'm influenced by much of that.
That's true.
You know.
Yeah.
So, are you on Snapchat?
Yes.
Are you on that TikTok? Have you ever seen that? TikTok
Yes.
is really cool.
It's like blowing up right now.
Yeah.
I
It's
know.
like the new Musically kind of thing.
Isn't it like Vine,
Vine.
used to
Yeah.
be, right?
Yeah.
I thought it was pretty cool. So
I haven't done it yet.
I haven't.
Me
done
and my
it either.
friends do it as a joke. Like we think it's the funniest.
It really is pretty funny.
It's funny,
Yeah, it's really entertaining.
What's crazy is I think that it's still school related. I think it's still the kids. Because I had a talk literally yesterday with 5 of my preteen teen students because they're literally the most anxious, stressed out kids I've ever seen. And so we had a talk and we had like this 30-minute talk about like, what is going on with you guys? Like, what are you worried about or what is stressing you out? And I feel like I feel like at school, like these people talk about me this way, or it's still kids being mean to each other. That is the biggest thing.
That's the biggest thing. I believe that too.
I don't know if it's social media.
I think that it's important that the kids have, like we learned the hard way, like Jolee only had that one group of friends at the dance studio. I am now a big believer there have to be a group of friends in several different places, because it gives them, okay, if they're mean to me, whatever, I have more friends here. Gives them an out, basically, and they don't have to be so sucked into this one group of people that could turn on you at any second. You never know. I mean, you never know what they get into it. Let one of them find a boyfriend that influences them wrong. They start doing drugs, and it is like this crazy.
It was just weird to hear a child, because they're so insecure, and I'm like, what? Please pick your eyes up. Like, be proud. When you walk into a room, you need to hold your shoulders back. You're all beautiful. Like, they won't look in the mirror. They're like scared to look at themselves, and it's all these insecurities. And then she was like, I'm going to say it honestly, because there's like 5 girls. She said, I thought about killing myself. Like, why am I even here?
Ow.
Yeah. And I told all of them, I said, do you think that God makes mistakes? And they're like, no. I go, so why are you questioning him then? No. And they're like, I don't know. We love you, Miss Marcella, or something. I was like, well, it's just they don't think like that. And then some of them don't want to talk to their parents about stuff like that. So that's why I think when there's someone else they can talk to is good too.
How long do you think it was before you recognized she was getting bullied at the studio?
I told you like the first time.
I mean, she told me,
but you
right away.
But you really didn't. Did you immediately recognize I got to handle this, or were you kind of like, let me just see how this kind of plays out?
It was so difficult because I was the owner of the dance studio. Yeah. So now I have my daughter being bullied, literally bullied, by the customers that pay to take dance there. So I handled it the best I could, talking to her all the time. Like we have to sing every single night. I lay with her and we talk everything out, like whatever goes on in the day, and we try to edit that with all 3 kids. I always go, if I had the hours that I've spent with my kids talking at nighttime.
10,000-hour rule.
You're a pro.
You're a pro.
And I love it though, because it keeps me close. I know what's going on, and I feel like I can always try to do the best. I mean, but that is what I learned. But at the time, I didn't have time to take her anywhere else because the dance studio took up all of our time. It was such a crazy time in our life. So
that's amazing. So funny. Just popped in my mind. So the other day, I had Jet with me, and we were talking.
I saw that cute picture of him in the car. By the way,
cute.
That was so sweet.
It's my little man. I'm so happy to have him back. But it was really interesting. We were talking about this weekend because I have him this weekend. And we were talking about going to a friend who he's gone to this kid's house forever, and I'm good friends with his parents. And so, I try to hype Jet up about, we're going to go this weekend and we'll do this. Mm-hmm. And he, this particular friend, he didn't want to go to their house. And that was a first. He usually is so amped up, excited. And he goes, I don't want to go there. And it caught me off guard. I was like, why? We always go there. He goes, well, so-and-so is this kid basically has been getting really mean with them. But for me, I'm so used to being there with the parents and whatnot that I'm oblivious to it. Because when I see them playing at the pool, I'm thinking they're playing at the pool. But I remember it just resonated. It was a couple days ago. So I was thinking, crap, like, all right, what do we do now? Because the parents are friends of mine. And I mean, but if my 7-year-old is so adamant that I don't want to go over there because I don't want to get picked on, it was just, I know.
So what do you do in that situation?
I have no idea. I'm trying to figure it out right now. If exactly, I mean, I'm literally, as we speak, I'm trying to think about, all right, how do we do it? Because the weekend is coming up and I don't know. I mean,
what I would do in that situation when they're that young, I would actually talk to the kids themselves. Yeah. I would be like, hey, you guys, everyone be nice to each other. They're still so young that I would be like, don't be mean to each other. Like,
kid, I'm bigger than your dad, right? So I'm gonna whip his ass. But it was a weird. It was a weird thing. I'm not used to him hearing that insecurity in him. Mm-hmm. It was really. It actually hurt. Like to say, just because I love my man. He's my little man, right? I know it's like my little man.
It sucks so bad when it happens, and you have to be so smart about how to handle it and what to do, and try to protect them, but not overprotect them, because they have to be able to defend themselves too. And especially with Jolee, I feel like she has mastered to not let people bully her anymore. Like she speaks up for herself.
There was a time, literally like a week ago, where 2 of my really close friends were like, hey, do you want to hang out? And I was like, sure. And then they're like, oh, we can't hang out. And I was like, okay, it's fine. Like, we'll make another plan. And then they posted all over that they were hanging out. And honestly, now I'm just like, okay.
Yeah.
It doesn't bother me now. Like, I'm like,
That's
It
good.
bothered me. And I was like, oh, that's so terrible. And she goes, no, it really doesn't. And I was like, I waited a little bit. I go back. Are you sure it doesn't bother you? I mean, that even bothers me. How doesn't that bother you?
Yeah.
I don't
have
know.
friends everywhere now. So it's
Yeah.
kind of like if
That's
one
Don't need
group
those
is
kind of
being
people
mean.
around.
Not at all. Not at all. You don't. You're right. Not at all.
So that's probably the biggest thing I would say that has helped us to have several different.
Yeah.
That means, again, they have to do several different things outside of school.
Yeah. That's good.
So that has helped her
Yeah.
tremendously, I think.
You do have an action-packed life.
Yeah.
You have so much going on. I'm tired right now hearing about this. I feel exhausted.
But teen suicide is a huge issue, actually, and it makes me always so scary to me that there are children that have that feeling and they don't voice it, they don't say anything. Parents are completely oblivious to it. So, have you ever heard any of your friends saying anything like that before?
One of my friends has always kind of, I guess she has had a hard time. I don't know. One thing I will say is I think it's a lot of attention driven. Like they want attention from it. So I feel like it's not always that they're actually depressed. They just want someone to talk to. So
Yeah.
Which then goes back to what's going on at home.
Yeah.
And, I've had kids I've worked with that are cutters, or I also don't think that even as teenagers, they understand what that means exactly. Like how final, like if you take your own life, like you're not coming back. Like I don't know if they actually process
There's no way.
what, you know what I
Well,
mean?
like when you're a teenager, like the emotional part of your brain grows faster than like the critical thinking part.
Yeah.
So like, you feel things, think things, and you don't know what the hell's going on or how to deal with it.
And even you hear about these 10-year-olds, 9-year-olds, I'm like, I don't think that
That's
they
so crazy to me.
had
That's
any idea.
Crazy to just think of that. Because I mean, I know as an adult, there's times I'm like, oh, fuck all this. Sorry. But, I can't imagine being that age
10?
and so young and not even fully remotely developed. I mean, truly in the way of being able to process things.
Yeah.
I think I agree with you 100% that that's got to do a lot with the home life and whatnot.
Yeah, like honestly, growing up with her as our mom, I mean, we were not allowed to have locked doors. You weren't allowed to go upstairs upset. And maybe if you did, you had to talk. Even if you're like, I don't want to talk. No, there's a rule in this house. You have to talk. Let me tell you that we don't live. We don't live there anymore, and we still have to talk. It's like
That's so awesome.
Every day are
No,
your
you
blinds
have to
open?
talk.
Is
If
your
you-
bed made? Is there light in your room?
That's good.
if
Door
you're in
open.
trouble and you go upstairs and close your door,
Oh.
you just
You're
hear the
done.
stomping and
You're
you're like, oh,
really in
God.
trouble. You're
Why
really
did
in
I
a
do
lot
that?
of trouble.
but also being tough about circumstances. Like if something happens, okay, that sucks for you, but she's very tough about like you got to get
3-day
over it.
rule.
3-day rule.
I remember the 3-day rule.
The
That's
3-day
good.
rule and just being tough. And anytime like I think suicide comes up, she gets pissed. Like, and that's not even something that she accepts at all. So you just kind of, not that I've ever thought it, but like that's like not an option.
No, I was going to ask, have you ever thought that? I mean,
I've had really dark times before where I've been like, and I feel like everybody has those
Absolutely.
dark times, but then you really think it through and you're like, okay, that's stupid.
yeah, I've had those dark times too, and I'm realizing I'm a big pussy.
Life is so wonderful.
I know.
Well, my grandfather committed suicide, and the way it affected me and my whole family, it was absolutely, I find it an absolutely horrible thing to do. It is, I know people are gonna maybe get mad at me, but I went through it. I think it's selfish, and I think that it's the easy way out. And I understand that you are struggling, but you can talk. You can
Yep.
you can do talk therapy, you can get help, you can do anything. Everyone has someone that will try to help you,
For sure.
because you leave people behind now, a whole entire group of people that are now struggling with something that you did. That's not right.
I was going to say that. I mean, you're leaving a lot of people to deal with the aftermath of a very.
And I think kids maybe they haven't had enough life experience to know that it's so temporary. I think maybe the teenage brain and an
it's
adolescent. No, the
the
pain is
pain is
temporary.
temporary,
Like
yes.
anything that they're going through, like you were bullied or kids were mean. I mean, I even told the girls yesterday, I go, do you know that the friends you have in high school, like you're probably never going to talk to those people again. Like it's so temporary. And I don't know if they see that. It seems so massive to them. And I think as adults, we know that there's waves in life and shit at the bottom now, and it'll just like always gets better, I guess.
Things always get
And
better.
there's always someone else going through it.
Yes.
Like you're never the only person going through whatever
Never.
it is.
Never.
No.
And
Exactly.
you're 100% right. I mean, nothing, no matter what, ever stays.
I mean, even
Ever.
losing a hand, which is, I mean, seriously, I mean, that
Honestly.
was the way you made money.
Oh, man,
That
yeah.
is the way that you made your career. You were going to open your own business with
Yep.
it.
I mean, I always think of, I feel like that whole thing is such a mate, like to come out of that and be positive. Like when we had you on the show the first time, I was like, I don't know. Cause I feel like that's the biggest fear for a lot of people is like, if I lose my legs or my like, what would I do?
Yeah, no. And you know what? It took about 3 years to get over that. Like it was, and I mean, that was a dark,
I would assume so.
dark. Because I had no, I mean, all my friends, and I thought my friends were lived in Dallas, and
Those
I lost
were
my
not really
career. Not at
friends.
all.
Mhm.
Lost my career. Had to start over. Now I'm almost 30, living at home with my mom and dad. Not because I'm wanting to.
Start
like
over.
I'm stuck
Yeah.
doing it. And that was a very dark phase. But with that being said, that I mean, remember, I can look now and see that, to agree with what you said, nothing ever stays exactly where it is. And I thought forever that I was stuck there. I felt like I was stuck in pause.
Yeah.
I literally remember thinking, I'm stuck in pause. And so, and life was happening for everyone else. But the reality is, just like you're talking about with social media and the perception that we have of people's lives and whatnot, it's never what it is.
No,
Ever.
No.
So.
ever.
Never.
Because you do. We hear about, to speak about suicide, but what always, I think it shocks everyone when you hear of these A-listers. And only because in reality, I think everyone looks at A-lister who's quote unquote loved and has more money than they know what to do with, and fame and vacations, this and that. And you hear that they committed suicide, like Robin Williams. And now he had some other, I think, some disease
Major
stuff.
mental health issues.
Mental
Anthony
stuff.
Bourdain and all
Yeah,
that stuff.
I mean,
yeah.
but like someone you would never think. They seem like really cool guys and great lives and stuff like that. But it's amazing. I mean, perception is not always reality. So,
Kate Spade's
yeah,
brother-in-law, right? What's his name? I forget.
didn't Kate Spade too?
Yeah, and he just said that he feels like if she had waited 10 minutes, she would have never done that.
Yeah, it's like a second.
Yeah, they just make such a final decision in a temporary situation.
I wish I knew his name. There's a guy, you could probably look him up. He jumped off of the
bridge.
Golden Gate
Yeah,
Bridge
I saw that.
and survived.
He survived.
And he tells his story about what he was thinking right after he jumped. And he thought, I made a mistake.
Really?
And his whole story, I watched that whole thing. It's like on IGTV, honestly. It's very, you did see it?
I've seen that one.
He jumped off and was like, what did I just do? So it almost makes you think that anybody who's taken their life wouldn't have done that if maybe a different thought had, or if one more minute or something else. It's just so crazy. And I think as teenagers and young people, they need to always remember that.
and reach out and talk and do something.
You know, I agree, right? I think we all could agree that you should reach out and talk, but I can also, I remember for me at least, at the times that, I really am too much of a pussy to commit suicide just because I'd be scared it hurt or something like that. But at the moment though, it felt so real. Like the despair that I felt at the different parts of my life was so real. And
But you have been through something that is not, that's a very traumatic.
I find it really crazy that you're on this podcast with us. Like sometimes it's just such a unreal moment because Marcella used to tell me about when this happened, talked about it all the time, and I never met you. I didn't know you before.
Now
and I
we're
always
family.
Her Puerto Rican son.
That's right.
so crazy. Anyways, next, alcohol use. So alcohol use and binge drinking showed a significant decline among teenagers. Despite the decline, 33.2% of high school seniors still report drinking alcohol within the past month.
Decline, really?
It declined, but then it still is an issue.
They're all smoking e-cigarettes.
I
or
was just about to say,
Yeah,
is drug use up though? Drug use has got to be up there, right?
Drug use is here. I was getting to that. Drug use. 6% of 12th graders reported using marijuana daily. It exceeds cigarette use.
What was that?
Mariana.
That's a Mexican drug. It's a mariachi.
Marijuana. She's from Europe.
You guys say it.
All of us looked at each other for a second and no one said anything, and then we all pulled back in and made a comment.
We're just waiting for you to finish your statement before it jumped all over it.
I was wondering if anyone else heard it. I was like, is that just me?
You smoking that ganja with that stuff?
Oh my God, that's really funny, you guys.
I got expelled in high school for for drinking. Like we got hammered.
No way.
Yeah.
How old were you?
I was a senior in high school,
Senior.
and we were we had a doubleheader. I was a all-state baseball player, and we were in the finals. We were in the finals. And after we did doubleheader, we went out, and there was 5 of us, and I was kind of the ringleader, and we got hammered. And then we went to, and this is like a strong, really strong Christian faith school. Got hammered, and went to a birthday party, and I have no idea what logic that made to it, but. And we got busted.
Your teenage brain.
Yeah,
thought
I
it
was
a good idea.
filling up the whole time in the parking lot.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
needless to say.
And then you got expelled.
Yeah. They found
Jolie,
out.
do you any of your friends talk about alcohol, drink alcohol? Have you had any experience?
What's your
with
favorite
it?
drink?
She won't even
Sprite.
taste it.
No, I won't. Like, I refuse to taste it. One time in Mexico, she told me that what was it that you drink sometimes in Mexico?
Margarita?
No,
Pina colada?
no. It was like,
Pina colada.
Vodka
it was
soda?
something that looked like Sprite.
Vodka soda.
And she goes, "Oh, this is your Sprite." And I was like, "What?"
Did you do
So
it on
I was like, "All
purpose?
right."
No.
And I took a sip of it and I spit it out. I was like, that's not Sprite.
No, I wouldn't do that to her on purpose. No.
My stepdad has never had any alcohol in his whole entire life. And Jolie said she is going to be just like him. She's not interested in it at all.
Do your friends, though? Your friends drink?
Yeah, I have several friends who do.
What do they drink? Beer or they drink like liquor?
Well, one of our closest family friends, their dad just lets him have beers all the time.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
But that's like European.
Is that right?
Well, the Europeans, they put whiskey on the baby's gums for teething.
Really?
Yeah, they put something in tea sometimes to make them go to sleep. I never did that though.
Well, I think
That's so funny.
in Europe
Have
there's
a
just not a
shot.
drinking age. Like there's just not wait till
really.
you're 21. There's none of that.
There's no drinking age at all?
Not really. I mean, they say it's 16, but if you go to a bar at 14, they're not going to ask you. They'll just give you whatever you want.
That's
It's
crazy.
pretty crazy.
Wow.
I mean, when we were there, like kids after school or at the bar.
Yeah.
Just
What?
normal.
Oh yeah,
Really?
it's weird.
Yeah.
It's very strange.
So, but let me ask this. So, with that being said, what is we probably don't even know this, but I mean, how's the alcohol problem there as opposed to here?
Well, I think there is an alcohol problem, but it's not here. It's just so swept under the rug, just like everything else. It's like, are you really going to say that kids are not going to drink till they're 21?
No.
It's absolutely ridiculous. They can go to war and fight for our country, but they can't have a beer or a glass of wine.
Or drive
it's
a
so
car.
stupid.
I mean, operate like they can drive at 16.
Oh
but
yeah,
they can't
but
take a sip of wine. It's
Yeah.
just strange.
I mean, it's very, very strange. So at home, it's not like that. But I think, adults have more issues with alcohol.
Yeah.
Kids don't, because it's just like, okay, well, we can have it if we want. So
Are there-
it's not so wanted. Like, my God, you have alcohol.
Yeah. I was thinking the same thing. That's why I was asking what's the ref.
I think
rough rate over there?
alcoholics are everywhere. My
Yeah.
dad was a big alcoholic. So was my grandfather. So I don't know. It's hard to say. I think anyone could become one if you're weak-minded, to be honest, anywhere in the world.
She
What
was
about-
very open with it with us. Like
Yeah.
it was never a secret. She always let all 3 of us. Do you want to try it? Do you want to try my drink? Like, you can try it. You're with us. You're here safe. You're not driving. You're not.
Or we'd
alone.
have parties at the house, and I'd have everybody at our house. And
And the parents I would tell the parents, and they would have to give me all the keys.
Mm-hmm.
But what I didn't know, that was a mistake I made one time. She had a party. I did all that. All the parents knew was a New Year's Eve party. This like when you were, I don't know, 18, something like that.
something like that.
21.
I collected
She's
all.
21.
They were all 21.
Oh, I'm not
I need
supposed
all.
to say that.
They were all 21.
Oh yeah. Well, no,
it's
they
fine.
weren't.
They
yeah, they're
weren't.
21.
But the parents all knew, they all gave me the keys. There was no issues. But what I didn't think about is the friends that would come visit in the cul-de-sac in their cars, and they had Everclear in their cars.
Whoa.
And so
Everclear.
they all would go out to the car and drink Everclear. And I was so confused because I wasn't they didn't have like alcohol. They had just like these little Smirnoff like stuff like that.
Yeah.
Which the parents approved of. The Everclear in the car of the people that drove up. I had no idea.
Joke at all.
Next thing I know, these kids are throwing up. I'm like, what the heck is going on?
So let me ask this. So, Jolie, our kids, I'm assuming a solid yes, but I'm curious, what about like marijuana and stuff like that?
No one at my school that I know of, but I haven't really experienced anyone who's done that.
Drugs at all?
None of my friends.
Wow. Interesting. That is crazy.
I mean, like dance friends now have, but whenever I knew them, they never did.
So the dance friends now, like, and I'm curious, truly, like, so how did those conversations happen? Is that even a weird question? So, I mean,
which one?
The conversations about drugs and marijuana and stuff like that. I feel like an old person.
Well, they don't really conversate it. They more post it, and then they're like,
really?
"Look, I'm doing this," and I'm like,
well, because remember when your son gets older, there's private Twitter, there's private stories, there's private. So parents need to be aware also that there are private things.
I had no idea.
Yeah, that the kids are posting on Twitter at their, what's it called? Their fake Twitter.
It's a Finsta.
Yeah, Finsta. Or that's fake Instagram. What? So they can post when they're wild and crazy and mom can't see or whoever can't see.
Crazy.
There's actually,
I feel really
saw
old
something.
right now in this.
You
have to be aware.
There's secret text codes teens use.
Oh man, that's in the movie, that Cock Blockers movie. Isn't it like the...
Dude, okay, let's see. I know.
Zerg is to gang up a bully someone. Do you know this, Jolie?
I have no idea what that is.
You've never heard?
Ooh, let's play the guessing game. Let's test her out.
Oh my God, some of these I don't even want to read.
Never heard Zerg.
This is like crazy. This is a big one. KMS, KYS.
Oh, I do know that.
What is that?
What is it?
Well, I can
Well, now you see it. It says on top.
Kill myself, kill yourself. Do you know this?
Yeah.
Who?
People tweet that all the time.
They do?
Well, okay, from my point of view, it's more of a joke. Like, it's like, oh my gosh, that sucks, but like not like actually.
Like, you're laughing so hard, I'm dying.
Yeah, like that.
Are you sure? That's what that is?
Yeah. Like the old person.
No,
I'm not even on Twitter. Are y'all on Twitter? I know you guys are.
I love Twitter.
I actually don't go on Twitter.
Are you on Twitter?
I'm horrible at Twitter.
Are you?
I don't get it.
No.
It's too.
Sweater?
I'm an Instagram only man.
I get on Instagram, a little bit of Facebook, but I don't tweet.
I'm not much of any social media, really. Very little. It used to be none.
I don't know that one.
I don't know.
So hold on. See, WTTP.
No clue.
What is that one?
Want to trade pics.
I love that.
I need to remember that one.
That they mean nude pics though.
Of course.
They mean,
Obviously,
That's why I need to remember it.
that's so crazy.
Yeah.
FWB.
Jolie.
Fat white.
Fat white boy.
what is
Fat white. Bernie said bitch.
Come on, you know this.
Or I said. I was like, no, we didn't.
Let's see. Hold on. Fat white bitch. For $200.
Is that your final
That's
answer?
my final answer. What is that?
What is?
What is FWB?
Friends with benefits.
Oh my God.
I should have known that one.
I feel really old right now.
My version of that would just be FB. I'm not going to say what it is though.
But this is what teens use, you guys.
crazy.
So you learn it. So if your son uses it, you know what he's talking about.
TDTM.
But you could also, some of these things that I see people post like this, I'm like, Urban Dictionary. What is
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I
Dude,
do that
that's
too because I don't even know.
What
Okay,
the hell?
Have you seen this one, Jolie?
No.
Thank
What-
God.
What do you think? What do you think this one is, Marcella?
I have no idea.
Just
I
give a
can't
guess.
figure it out.
I
Like,
can't
didn't
either.
put words together. I'm
I
like,
can't
today,
Dogs.
today,
Talk
tomorrow.
dirty to me.
Oh my gosh.
That's like the song.
Talk to me.
No, not quite.
It's Jason Derulo.
Yes.
Okay.
You got
We'll
it.
have sex.
Smash.
Well, I know
That's
that
gotta,
one.
but Smash
You
is
know
what?
that one.
Yeah.
Having sex?
Engage in casual sex.
That's
Casual.
easy.
Yeah.
Cover up the bottom too, because
Thirsty.
Oh.
Yeah, I know thirsty.
Desperate for attention.
desperate.
Usually it's
Sexually.
like a poor girl.
Piece of shit. And then
I don't know what the
MOS
I thought-
/ POS.
what is MOS?
I thought the POS was put on story.
No.
No,
That's what it is. How
that person's the POS. What is it?
Mom/parent over shoulder.
Oh shit! Wow.
Oh.
I don't know anything.
That's
about
actually a smart one.
Yeah.
That is because
It could be anything.
That just shows how bad of a parent I'd be for a teenager. Like, what is that? POS. Go to your room. This is your other daughter.
Oh, partying.
Yeah.
okay,
Lit,
drunk.
turned up.
Lit
that
or turned
one,
up.
my friends would use lit as like fun.
Yeah, I don't think
That's like a big party.
Party hard, get high on drunk.
on drunk.
Well,
Get high on drunk.
Dude, that's
I want a shirt that says that.
get high on drunk. Get high on it. You're high on that drunk stuff, huh?
oh my God.
The shirt.
Beast. Beat cake. That scares me. I don't even know.
I mean, I'm
Beat.
thinking a few things, but
Engage in rough sex.
oh wow,
I mean,
All right.
what
Where the hell have I been? I've never heard of any of this.
I know, because that's teenage things. That's why
teenagers.
you are old, Bernie.
I
You
feel
don't
old.
know.
I feel old right now. I can't even kind of come
I
up with
feel
any.
old.
You are old now in this conversation.
So
We're
the crazy
old.
part is there's still so much other stuff like juuling, and I know I'm saying that
Juuling?
funny.
what's that?
What is that?
The vape.
E-cig, yeah.
Vape.
That's what-
Oh, jeweling.
That's
A
what
jewel. Yeah.
someone's mom bought them.
I've never heard of that. I do
It's just
not
another
get it.
vape. People are obsessed with them on Instagram.
Yep. The studies of what marijuana does to their brain, like even a tiny little bit can mess with teenagers' brain, like really, really bad, and lead to further drug use.
I think alcohol can lead more to drug use than marijuana.
No, this changes the brain. It's a proven study actually that we actually had talked about with one of our counselors and
Therapist.
she agreed. She said there's studies that show that.
So truly, it's a
Very-
gateway drug.
Yeah.
Well, I
For,
think
for teens.
for teen, I
especially.
think you have the people argue, like as adults, but we're still talking about young people. So I think that's where just that their mind is just not fully
Developed.
developed.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And then there's the effects of caffeine in teenagers is terrible. I know
No
Jolee
way.
has friends that
My
drink.
friend is literally addicted to coffee. Like she will, I'm not kidding, have 5 coffees a day with 8 shots of espresso in it.
Wow.
And that's not even an exagetration. I'm not
Her
kidding.
heart's
I'm
gonna
like,
explode.
that's what I tell her. I'm like, you're gonna die.
I'd rather do cocaine.
Pretty much. That's what the girl's doing right there. With all that.
But it says
Wow.
caffeine may stunt their development. A study shows that young rats who consumed the rat-sized equivalent of the caffeine in 3 or 4 cups of coffee experienced reduced deep sleep and delayed brain development. So I mean, it's very, very terrible, and it takes a major toll on their sleeping
I
as
didn't.
well.
I just didn't think that young people drank coffee.
I didn't either.
Some
I did
of
not
them
think that at all.
they
I
drink
hate
the what are those?
Starbucks.
The
5 hour
Frappuccino.
energy.
energy drinks.
Oh,
some of them are
Monster.
Oh, I know.
super addicted to them.
Those
so
monsters
dangerous.
have so much sugar in it.
Also-
That's terrible.
Look at the back. There was one of those Bang and energy drinks at
Yeah,
the
Bang.
Bang. You want to bang?
No, thank you.
Smash. It's smash. Right.
Somebody
MOS.
goes, yeah, right. Asked me if I drank that. I was like, no, I don't. They go, well, why not? I go, well, I don't know. Let me turn it around. And I started reading. Like, I go, can anybody tell me what that is? They're like, no,
Yeah.
I can't even pronounce it. I don't really feel like drinking stuff that I can't pronounce. It's kind of scary.
Very, very scary. So I'm just going through these really quick because we're out of
Vodka.
time.
I can pronounce that. I would drink it.
That's
Tequila.
actually true. I know what is in that actually, and I know where that
Gin.
comes
It's
from.
good.
A huge issue is teenagers riding with their drunk friends.
Yeah.
Very, very terrible.
I'm not even allowed to ride with teenagers in general.
Exactly.
Good.
And
I
the
suck at
other
driving, so you're not missing out.
Yeah.
exactly. And the other interesting thing that is happening now is teens are ditching driving. They don't want to drive. That
I know.
young. they don't want to drive early. They
think
don't
that's
see the
better.
need
That's
for
me.
it. And I think that it's awesome. In Europe, they're not allowed to drive till they're 18. And I've always implemented that rule for my kids because I don't see why a 16-year-old
18?
No, I didn't
Should
start till I was
drive.
21.
Oh, wow.
Really?
I didn't
Good
want
for
to.
you.
I still don't. I take Uber everywhere now.
Yeah.
I don't drive.
drive
I did not.
everywhere.
I didn't want to drive either.
I drive everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Everywhere.
So on that note, there's still so many other things. And when I found this, also came across a really scary situation with human sex trafficking with teen girls. And that Texas is the number 2.
That is a real thing.
It's a real thing and it is really scary. And we're going to do an episode on that by itself because it's such an issue and so scary.
And
And-
Maria's, you should talk to what's lady with dark hair? Mandy knows that lady who is now speaking at churches who is in
that's
the
right.
sex trafficking thing. That's random side.
No kidding.
Well, the thing what they're doing, this I wanted to bring this up really quick since Jolee is here and maybe some teenagers are listening to this, is that online, their age kids are befriending them, but they are hidden informants to
Really?
yes, to human sex trafficking adults. And there is information how to actually find that out. It is the most scary thing. When I read that, it actually made me freak out because yes, you're aware of the adults and you of the creeps and everyone else that is attacking them, but now it's their age and they pretend to be so friendly with them. And in the meantime, they're working for
Wow.
It's also
trafficking.
women approaching women. That's where they're
That
getting
too,
it. Because
yes.
of course, as you grow up, you're
That's
like,
unbelievable. I
Yeah.
never thought about that.
yes,
you're like, don't talk to that creepy guy or don't whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But now, and that's who Mandy knows. She was a person who was getting girls for like the guys, and she changed her whole life.
We gotta have that podcast
Yeah.
up soon.
1,000,000% because I
Wow.
think it is so important that everyone is aware. I know it's scary and you don't want to scare people, but people have to be aware.
But
to
I
be
think
scared.
that when you say sex trafficking, I don't think that people think it's real, and it is such a huge.
It is so real and
huge
so
thing.
big. Mhm.
Well, I think until someone's impacted by it, you're not really impacted by something,
Right, of
right?
course. Yeah.
You know, it's
Yeah.
you hear that people deal with sex trafficking.
That's
and stuff like that,
true.
right?
Yeah.
So that's crazy. My
Yeah.
God, that's insane. Wow.
Insane. Can we call Miss Polly real quick, please?
All right. Yeah, we gotta. I have people at the door already. Though. Just
We're
heads
gonna
up.
be
We'll
quick.
go fast.
I'm missing this theme song. I'm just saying.
Sing it to me.
Hello.
Hi, Miss Polly.
It's Polly.
Hello.
Miss Polly, we have to be a little bit quick because there are more people. They're getting famous with this new studio, so there's people outside the door waiting to record. But we're gonna get really quickly. Could you talk a
Okay.
little bit about how we have talked about this before, but since this is a teen episode, how to talk to your teen about healthy sexuality and teen pregnancy, because that is really important.
Absolutely. Because most teens, no offense, Jolee, most teenagers think that they know everything. So it's going to be really hard to kind of sometimes say, hey, let's have a conversation. But it's important that you continue and have that and exhibit healthy relationships yourself. You know, let them know that what constitutes abuse, what signs to look for in terms of if you're dating someone and you see a red flag, let them know what those red flags look like. You know, are they verbally abusive? Are they pushy? Are they aggressive? You know, these are things that teens need to know, and they need to see what healthy looks like in their parents' relationship too.
Jolie, how do you feel about that?
I honestly wasn't listening. Sorry. I was so zoned out just now. I don't even know what just happened.
Sorry, Miss Polly.
I don't even know what to say about that.
That's
Sorry, I was so zoned out. I don't even remember what just happened.
74. What?
Sorry about that.
Teen pregnancy.
Well, I'm not going to say something
Yes.
if I don't know what you said.
That's too funny.
Teen pregnancy is still something that is probably the most, it's actually the biggest reason that kids today actually use birth control of some sort because they're afraid of getting pregnant. More so than even
That's crazy.
STD.
I'm glad I have a son right now. Although I say that and he can knock someone out. So it may not be good. None of it's good.
So they need to know what the options are.
Right.
They need to know how to prevent them, whether
Right.
it's condoms, whether it's, I hate to say that, the morning after pill. But let them know that abstinence, the parents have to know that abstinence is not the answer. Because honestly, if a child or teenager or whoever is going to have sex, they need to know what the other options are besides no sex. Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
Did you have a talk with? Did she have a talk with both you guys?
I never had a talk.
We
No.
just
It
talk.
was
We
always
just talk all the
Like
time.
it was never a surprise.
Yeah, it was never like a sit down
Yeah.
talk.
I mean, we talk all the time,
Yeah.
so it doesn't have to be this awkward talk. And that's
Unicorn
the books.
family.
That's the books in the house too. If
Well,
they
and
don't
that's-
feel comfortable, they
that's
can learn
healthy.
everything.
Right.
So I mean, if they don't feel comfortable, I always had those books that explain everything if they wanted to know.
She threw it at us.
You did what?
I'm kidding.
Oh, I was like, dang.
So let's go to the question of the day.
Okay.
The two posh girls ask the question of the day.
Do you believe money can or cannot buy happiness?
Oh,
Hell
yes.
No. God, no. Money cannot buy happiness.
I'm a very happy person, and I would be a lot happier with a lot of money.
I've been on both sides of it, and I learned very quickly when I'd made a lot of money that I was way more. I mean, because you feel that empty spot with a bunch of crap, and it was cool to have those things, cars and blah blah blah, but it was I felt like when it all settled from the excitement of the newness, like days or weeks later, I was just I felt more miserable.
Yeah,
it
but
didn't build
not
that.
having money
Oh my god, that's
is
horrible.
way worse.
You're right? But at the end of the day, though, it's nice to be able to take care of your bills and all that stuff, right? But I mean, I just don't think it can create. Because I've seen a lot of people who don't have a lot of money who are way happier than people who have a ton of money.
Yeah.
But I agree with you. Having
It
money is
just-
way nicer for sure.
Money makes you more of who you are. So if you're a miserable person, you're still going to be miserable.
It's true.
And if you're a happy person, you can pretend because you have money. But I know that I'm a very happy person, and I can tell you, if I didn't have to struggle, I'd be a way happier person.
Miss Polly.
I'm with you on that, Marcella. I'm with you because I struggle. I mean, I'm
It's
basically
awful.
single and having to, work 6 days a week and struggle, like literally struggle to make ends meet. And I don't have any help. And so there's a lot of things that I don't have. But I mean, I'm like, am I any happier? I was happy when I could make all my bills go away, like by paying them. But I mean, I'm happier that I have my own place and I can, I have a car to drive and I have food in my stomach and a place to lay my head. So
Right.
that to me is, I'm content in a sense.
Right.
Okay.
Spider.
I've been happy with money and without, and so it doesn't make a difference to me.
Jolie.
Honestly, yeah, I think you could be way happier with money because there's this song that I listen to that it's like, would you rather cry in a Lambo or would you rather cry in like a, I don't know what other
And
car.
I was seeing that before. That's really funny.
That's awesome. Gino.
Definitely easier, but that's why you see the people that are loaded and still not happy and looking for something.
Yeah.
If you're not, like Miss Polly said, content, if you don't have something fulfilling going on, doesn't matter how much you got.
Yeah. Mom.
I agree with that. Money makes you more of who you are. I think when you have money and maybe you can help others and do some charity work or really that makes you more happy if you're that kind of person. I believe it always makes me happy if I can help people. So the more money I have, the happier I get to help people. So
It's just nice to be able to like breathe, and like not having it to me is far worse.
Money is the root to all happiness, but somehow it feels better to cry in a Mercedes. So.
Yeah, that's what she said. On that note, thank you for listening, everyone. Thank you, Miss Polly.